Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, you know what? Let's start off with Kayla and Bonnie for a minute because Bonnie pretty much asked Kayla to be like her maid of honor, I guess the equivalent of a best man. And for the majority of that scene, Kayla kept dodging that question like her life depended on it, and I could not understand why. I really couldn't. I mean, if it was the whole thing with Steve, like, oh, I don't know, because Steve doesn't really like you, then I'm just like, why didn't you just not say so? You know? I mean, yeah, it would have hurt, but you would have been honest if that was the case. It couldn't have been about the whole Justin thing because that was done a long time ago. So I don't really understand why she just kept stalling for a whole hour. I mean, for like, the whole time. And it's so odd because it's like, this woman is practically confiding in you, Like really pouring her heart out about why she wants to sit there and marry Justin and everything like that. And she's just like, well, why don't you sit there and talk it over with him first and then come back to me and, we'll rediscuss it. I don't know. For me, it just comes across as, I guess, disingenuous. Disingenuous? Comes across as disingenuous to me. Like, it's just being really fake, and I just don't understand why. But, when Justin gets there, Bonnie asked Justin, will you marry me? And Justin kind of just stands there for a good second and is like, no. And I was just like, oh, damn. I mean, if you were going to sit there and let her down, you really felt like that was the best way? Now, I'm pretty sure he meant like, no, because I'm going to sit there and marry you or something like that. But it just the way it came across, it was just like, well, wow, okay. But, yeah, so we're going to wait until tomorrow to see what happens with that. Now, Justin does wind up meeting up with Ciara and Ben. They're both sitting there asking, will you represent me, and yada, yada, yada. And at one point, after a while, I think Ben said something like, well, Justin represented me when they were going to sit there and, put me to death. And once again, Ciara just goes off, oh, see, I knew I was going to sit there and be with you because you tried to kill someone and blah, 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 blah. And after a while, Justin was like, yeah, he was innocent and you brung in the real killer at gunpoint. And she's like, oh, okay. But then she proceeds to sit there and start acting like a bitch to him anyway, so it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, so we're gonna play this game, huh? Like, it just seems every time they're together, Ciara always gets this attitude with Ben. It's just constant barraging Ben for something or anything at this point. And after a while, I'm not gonna lie, the scenes just get, like, they're not unbearable to watch, but they're not fun to watch either. They're not. And I guess this may work for people who watched them fall in love and been together for so long, and watching this just seemed pretty interesting, to them. But for me, who hasn't actually, see that story from, beginning to now, I'm just like, this is really annoying. And granted, this is coming in from the fact when I first watched this show, and this one, it was something that you're trying to find Gwen, like they was helping Jake find Gwen, and, there was this one cheesy pose that, Ben and Ciara was doing. It was like looking for this map or whatever, and Ciara was doing like this or something like that, like she was on his shoulder like this, and I'm just like, what are y'all doing? Are y'all like posing for the Abercrombie and Fitch or something? Like, what is this? This is just, and granted, this show was new to me, so I was like, alright, let me just try not to judge the show too much. Even though I'm about to review it, let me just try. I don't know, it seemed kind of just annoying after a while, and Justin was like, listen, I'm not messing with either one of y'all, pretty much, like, wait a second. Justin was like, yeah, I'm not getting in the middle between this two. I'm not doing it. I will give you a rep for another lawyer, and y'all two could just kind of deal with this. But why don't you two crazy kids just stay here and just kind of just talk it out, neutral ground and all, and I'll get on that list for you ASAP. And he just walks out. He's like, yo, I want no parts of this. So he leaves, and once again they bicker for a little bit, and then as Ciara's trying to leave, like Ben just like walks on through this door, and like I don't know, I guess they bump or something like that, and Ben just has this look like I don't know what that look was about, but he had that yeah, we're still together, and it was just like, all right, Ben. Listen, as much grief as I'm giving Ciara, Ben, I get it. That's his wife. That's the love of his life. He wants to sit there and fight, but I'm just like, from my perspective, bro, you coming off hella desperate. And every time you do one of those little things you do, or you just constantly sitting there just, oh, we just love each other, blah, 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 blah. It just makes her dig in her heels even more. It's like everything that Rafe said to him was just like, yeah, cool. So, listen, thanks for all that. I'm just going to do the exact opposite of what you said. But, I'm glad you wasted your breath for like 5 minutes, because, that was entertaining to watch. Now, I'm going to do the opposite, and, bye. That's literally what he's doing. So, to be honest, I'm like, Ben, as much as I'm calling Theo a snake, you're not doing yourself any favors. You're really not. And it's just getting a little uncomfortable to watch. Because it's like, you want to root for him, but then when he does things like that, it's like, bro, what are you doing? Why are you doing this for? What's the matter with you? You got Theo hanging out with Chad, and to be honest, here's the thing. I actually like these scenes. I like these scenes because these are the scenes where Chad is not acting like such a dick. When he's actually acting like a human being and just being generally nice and friendly and smiling and just, again, a human being. So Theo comes in, they play some chess, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna lie, listen, I don't really know a lot about chess, but, what are we supposed to sit and pretend these things are? They're playing chess, they're talking about, his engagement, and he's happy and everything like that. Chad is happy for him, and Theo, is happy about that. Because to be honest, ever since he came back to town, told everyone about his marriage proposal and stuff like that, his engagement, people been like, this ain't a good idea. So to actually have any support, it's, besides the sisters, it's welcoming. There's one point where Theo was like, I don't know, because she may get her memories back, and like if she does, she seemed like she might have remembered something, so he's a little worried. And Chad's like, listen, you got this, don't worry about it. If she didn't remember him, she's not going to. And she was, he was also like, oh, well, I hope she never remembers Ben Weston. I'm like, usually I would get mad about something like that. But I'm like, you know what, listen, that is your family. You're looking out for them. I can't knock you on that. I really can't. There's one point where Chad walks, he passes by Ben. He's like, I see Theo's getting married to Ciara. It's a good thing. That's such a great thing. Alright, I'll see you around. And at first I was like, it's Chad being a dick. But then I was like, you know what? That's his family. And he's looking out for his family. And I can't knock him for that. I mean, yeah, at this point I think everyone knows how I feel about Theo and what he's doing. And not just the fact that it's very snake-like, but yes, it is very snake-like, and it's very snake-like. But it's also no good to him, because if she does remember, she's going to be mad at him, he's going to be disappointed, he's going to be sad, he's going to be heartbroken, and this is all going to be because he decided to go through with marrying someone who can't remember who their husband is, or can't remember the love that they felt for their husband. So this is just, a bad idea from jump. Yeah, I guess we're gonna sit there and find out. Now, Theo and Ciara do wind up meeting up at the former square, and at this point, Sierra's like, listen, I'm gonna find a lawyer, but meanwhile, we gotta get married ASAP. Like, I want it, like, next Thursday. Or was it this Thursday? I know it was one of the Thursdays. She wants to get it done now. Like, yesterday, like 7 minutes ago. And I'm like, you sit there and look at this and you're like, girl, you sit there trying to rush just because you know there's a good chance that you may remember your feelings. He might be right about this whole thing and you are just being stubborn. But you know what? Ben is literally sitting there pushing her in that direction. So, I mean, in reality, this makes good, entertaining, entertainment for everyone. It's great. You know what I mean? And, in like, TV land or whatever. But, like, in reality, I was like, bro, if you would have said your piece, you would have gave her her time and her space, there's a good chance she might actually have thought about this stuff a little bit more. But you kept pushing and lunging at her with a syringe. So at this point, you kind of really didn't give her a lot of options. So she's only speeding this up because you keep pushing. So again, it's really hard to feel bad for Ben at this point. Because he's not working my nerves, but he's not making my support for him. I don't really have a word for it, but he's not helping with my support for him. Now Julie, catches Xander and Gwen in the act of pretty much about to have sex in the living room because that's a good idea. And seeing them go at it or whatever, I was like, anybody could walk in at any point in time, and if it wasn't Julie, it would have been Jack. How do you think Jack, your best friend, is going to feel about you practically defiling his daughter? So it's one of those things. It's like, what are you two doing? So Julie gives them a whole speech or whatever, and she's upset about the couch and everything else, and Xander's like, oh well, what would your grandparents think? Of you, doing this to us or whatever, not being, like more gracious, as far as us being guests and stuff. And Julie must have pulled some inner strength, because I'm not gonna lie, she was kind of annoying in the beginning, but I don't know. It was kind of a mixture. She was a bit annoying, but I'm gonna be honest, I really have to take that back because she has every right. I mean, come on, no one would sit there and walk in on somebody else in the middle of that. So I actually tell you the truth, in reality, I give her a pass. Because I really thought about it. I was like, yeah, I can't blame her. But she was like, yeah, you know what? If y'all gonna sit there and do whatever it is that y'all doing, can y'all just take it upstairs or anywhere where people don't just walk on in? And she walks off, and at one point, Xander's like, alright, so let's go. And Gwen's like, yo, she just killed the whole mood. What are you doing? But yeah, I know Gwen was not there blaming him about disposing the body all wrong and everything, but it is what it is, so whatever. Anyway, I think they both leave. Now, Julie comes back, and, she starts talking to the couch. She makes some joke or whatever. And then I think that's her tablet or whatever that she's looking at. And, looks, the doctor or whatever. And so she's looking, and she realizes, like, wait a minute. I was looking at that couch. And she was also sitting there talking about the fact that, oh, you bring us some drunk and you had him just like sleep it off on my couch or whatever, my grandparents' couch. Like, what are you doing? Just berating him about that about 5 minutes ago. Now she looks at the article and she looks at the couch. She's like, oh, wait a minute, that's the same guy. I'm just like, so at some point, what was your plan for Julie if she did remember? I mean, I know Xander's plan was to, kill her, but since that's not an option, because, well, Jack and Jennifer and all that good stuff, it's like, well, what was going to be your plan? I mean, the body didn't work out the way it was supposed to. Okay, fine, whatever. What was your plan for Julie if she remembered? Man. Now, Jack is meeting up with Steve because Jack is like, listen, I need your help. I think my daughter's in trouble. I think Xander's in trouble. They're both acting fishy. I try to confront them, and they're both being all shady. And hell, at one point, Xander was not there defending Gwen. So at this point, I really think that there's something up. Now, Steve was like, yeah, the thing is, you're not that far off. And, you know, Steve kind of shares with Jack some of the stuff that he found out as far as the pills, you know, as far as, Tripp seeing Gwen with Dr. Snyder and being all kind of weird and everything like that. And of course, there's a house call. So there's a lot of stuff that's that's adding up or whatever. Especially about the house call and then the pills. And then Jack is like, "Yo, you think she's running drugs or whatever?" But Steve is like, "Listen, I don't know what's going on, but we'll get to the bottom of it." So Jack leaves, and of course Kayla kind of, when she gets there, she informs, they're about to sit there and talk about the whole Jack and Gwen stuff, but then Kayla's like, listen, you might want to sit down for this, because she's going to sit there and talk about Bonnie and Justin and being married and stuff like that, and Steve is going to have opinions. There was something that Bonnie did say as far as their night, because apparently it happened like last night, which is like, okay, it's been like 2 weeks ago, but sure. That dinner date, that disaster date, happened last night. Okay, fine. But one of the things that Bonnie did say was that, yeah, I don't blame Steve for being upset that I pretended to try to be her sister. And I'm like, Kay was like, well, I understand why you did it. I was like, listen, we can all understand why your initial thought would be, okay, let me placate him, let me, do this way Steve could sit and accept me since, he can't accept me for being me. But I'm like, listen, we all have stupid things that we think is a good idea. I want to give humanity, I would sit there and say maybe 70% of the time, we don't decide to act on the stupid ideas that we have. I think about that stuff all the time as far as, man, this would be a good idea if I did this. Yeah, but the reality is, it's probably not a good idea. This is one of those things where it's like, Bonnie thought it was a good idea to pretend to be Steve's dead sister, to somehow placate him, and, I don't know, maybe comfort, or, like, maybe make herself look good in, Justin's eyes or whatever. I just don't understand how she thought that was a good idea. She's all like, yeah, no, I understand now. I'm like, you can't be this stupid. I mean, I know she comes across a little bit kind of ditzy, but there's ditzy and then there's like, I mean, does that qualify as ditzy now? Because if that's so, listen, I get, for me, I love a curvy woman, okay? And, Bonnie got curves. But there's a level of intellect that she doesn't seem like she follows, and that was the example of, you can't be this stupid. Like, you can't be this stupid. So, I don't know, smart, sophisticated lawyer, woman who thinks it's a good idea to pretend to be somebody's dead sister. I don't really understand how that's going to work out, but, not gonna lie, I think that's about it. I might have missed something. I know I missed something. I feel like I missed something. But if I did, write it down in the comment section below. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. I think that's pretty much, I kind of covered the majority of it. Be safe, everyone. Thank you for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I will see you in the next video.